I can tell you this much, Coach. You talk about putting your guys in position to win. The first sign of a real quality football club is to win on the recruiting trail. And right now, I mean, you're hibachi hot. Florida State is considered one of the hottest teams in the country when it comes to recruiting. The 2022 class is looking like they're going to be a prolific class. Not to mention you had a heck of a 2021 class, by the way. I love a few of those guys that you signed, a few studs, a few hidden gems I think will be productive throughout their collegiate career there in Tallahassee. But how did you guys get so hot? I mean, sometimes, you know, you talk about teams that are kind of in the rebuilding process with new staff. They kind of get in the microwave and kind of like it's a process. I mean, you jump right on the grill, man. That gas grill was already piping in. Man, you're on fire. But how did that happen?
Well, you know, we spent a lot of time investing in the relationship, and you know, from the first day that I got here, you know, we started the process of building relationship with coaches, you know, with these prospects, you know, not only in the 21 class but the 22 class, 23 class. Those relationships. I mean, it takes time, and that's something that you know. I did not foresee not being able to have kids or recruits on campus for 15 months. So it was you know, when June hit, we were definitely excited about being able to get the face-to-face interaction, but it's about sharing the vision. It's about you know getting these guys around so they get to truly see and be around our players and hear the stories and how we're implementing that day in and day out. Because I don't have there is no sales pitch to come play at Florida State. You don't need one. You need to present what the reality is going to be, how these guys are going to be taken care of, how they're going to be developed. You know, the standard of how we're going to operate. You know, I tell guys, man, if they don't like hard work, do not come here, right? Because if they come here, we are going to work. We are going to push. We're going to develop. And, you know, we expect guys to truly, you know, be passionate about being the best version of them and everything that they do. And, you know, when you have a place like this is special. You know, there is a standard of how we operate and an expectation for what's in front of us. But, you know, Florida State, it sells itself on the opportunity. It's up to us to make sure that we're going out and finding the right fit and the right young men that are going to help get this program back to where it deserves to be. And, you know, we've got a lot of excitement on the recruiting trail, but, you know, I can tell you we're getting the right guys that are coming to be a part of this program.
And you know what, Coach, because of the momentum that you've had when it comes to recruiting, you know, some other coaches might not take so kind to those hot streaks that you're having right now. And there was a coach in the same state. I'm not saying he actually specifically were targeting you with this comment or the University of Florida State University, but Manny Diaz had this to say in June: we're not a high pressure outfit. There's a lot of schools that kind of press the kids to try to commit to get some fake momentum. They can win the recruiting bake-off in the month of June, but just because that's not signing day, we want to be authentic. What do you make of those comments from rival head coach Manny Diaz?
I'll tell you, everybody's got an opinion of where they are and you know, their current situation, and you know, we're just going to continue to be true to who we are, and it's about building a relationship, sharing the vision of you know, what we're doing and how we're doing it, and you know, at the end of the day, that's all I can focus on. I try not to worry about you know, what's going on at other places, you know, with other situations. And you know, for us, it's just it's about doing the work and continuing to build the relationships the right way, and you know, bring the best fits here to Florida State.
Well, I can tell you this much, Coach. It seems like Manny Diaz is living in a fishbowl world where he's able to look and see what everybody else is doing. And like you said, if you're paying attention to what everybody else is doing, you're not paying attention to what you should be doing. So with that being said, I'll say what you probably can't say or you don't want to say. We don't care how you feel, Manny Diaz. What? You're a rival. We don't like you. You don't like us. That's how it's supposed to be. And the first thing you need to do to your rival, you need to beat them on the recruiting trail and then beat them on the football field. So you continue to beat Miami on the recruiting trail like you've been doing, and you're going to handle the rest in late November, if I'm not mistaken. So I'll say what you probably don't want to say. But hats off to you guys because you've done a real good job. And talking about recruiting, yo, Coach, man, you got a stud committed to this 2022 class. Me and Pat P were top ranked corners when we came out of high school. You know, I'm the senior of the group, and then they had me 247 Sports. They had me ranked number 10 of the highest rated corners ever ever since, they came up with that composite ranking scale or whatever it is, I feel some type of way, coach, because, I didn't have I didn't have the resources some of these kids have to go to all these different camps to really showcase how good I was. So I kind of had to get mine from the mud, but they had me number 10. They had Pat P number 7. And I looked at a number 1 guy from 247, the highest ranked corner ever is Florida State commit Travis Hunter, class of 2022. They also have him ranked the number 1 wide receiver for the 2022 class as well. What makes him so special? And just talk about the relationship you have with him.
Brian, I cannot talk about any 22 recruit.
I'm sorry.
that might be recruit that might be committed to us. So I will not talk about any specific individual, but I will say I'm very excited about the class that we have and the type of young men that and the playmakers that we have that we're going after in the 22 and 23 classes and beyond. So you try to get me with the NCAA.
I got fired up. Hey, coach, my bad about that, but I can tell you this much: I told 247 they did me wrong because I'm ranked too low. I can't be number 10. Like number 10. Like really? Like they got me.
I'll say this. If any corner that we recruit that you, right, man, if they're on the same list as you, I'm feeling pretty good about it. So, that's you did yours. I promise you that.
I can tell you this much. Of course, he's a commit, but, seeing Florida State have 2 representatives on that list. The only other school that had 2 representatives on that list was LSU, I think, with Stingley and Pat P. So, they always had that conversation floating around the football world, college football, DBU. Man, Florida State has been known to be DBU since the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and so on and so forth. So, hey, that's a conversation for debate. But I can tell you this much. The kid can go. So we're going to just leave it at that. I know you can't say too much about him, but the kid can go, and I can't wait to see him in that garner and gold. But one thing you can talk about, Coach, I believe you can. I don't know what the rules and regulations are, the transfer portal. You've done a real good job in identifying certain players that fit what you're trying to do, what you're trying to build there in Tallahassee, not just on the offensive end. We talked about Mackenzie Milton, but you've done a great job, getting some transfers on the defensive end as well. How do you approach and balance bringing in transfers versus high school kids?
Well, this year was unique. I mean, with the dead period and the lack of evaluation opportunities that we had, with the 21 class, it's presented a challenge. And so we ended up signing 15 high school players. Interesting enough that 5 of those guys that we signed actually played for former Seminoles and guys that were their coaches that had a great understanding of who these young men were, but also how they would fit into our program. And, when then you look back to our team and the needs that we had, we were the youngest team in all of college football last year. I mean, our young players, they got experience, but, when it comes to the leadership and the guys that are in that locker room that can tell them and kind of show them the ropes of what it is to be productive. I mean, we brought in, I think it's sitting there 10, 11, 12 transfers, over 300 games of college football experience that has now been added into our roster. And once again, we weren't going to lower the standard. Each one of these guys that we brought in were the right fit for Florida State. They were guys that are passionate about not only their individual experience that they're going to have, but who they get to do it with and to be a part of this team, to be a part of this university and what we represent. And that's what has me as excited as anything else, because these guys are great leaders and great teammates. And, they were able to gel. Most of them were here for the spring semester, seeing them gel together. It's been incredible to watch, but really excited about what that group is bringing to bring the experience and production along with the youth that we have that's continuing to develop.
And my hats off to you and your staff, because most of the guys that you guys added, transfers, not most, all, they had to pick up the litter and what university they wanted to go to, what staff they wanted to be coached by. They decided to be coached by you and your staff. So that tells me you guys are you know what to say and how to get these kids to buy into what you're selling. And that's a great, great method to have when it comes to building championship-like programs on the collegiate field. And I'm not surprised to see the success, as I talked about, on the recruiting trail as well, because the same things that you're selling and you're telling these kids that are experienced transfers is doing the same things to their parents and to players that are high school prospects. So you guys are definitely clicking on all cylinders.